Oscar Klefbom officially announced his retirement today. People saying, God, that's so sad. I said, did you think he was coming back? He's been basically retired for 2 or 3 years. He just got around to filling out the paperwork. Super sad, obviously, that after 378 games, the Oilers lost who was at the time their best defenseman. And it makes you think, how much different is this team in this blue line if Oscar Klefbom had been able to stick around?
Totally.
But here's my question. From the McDavid era forward, because I don't want to do the what if they didn't get Connor McDavid thing.
Okay.
But from the McDavid era, in the McDavid era, what are your biggest what ifs?
Ooh.
It's a good one. Excited to see what people can say in the chat. Like, again, there are low-hanging fruit, right? There is what if they would have beat Florida in Game 7? How much different is our lives right now, right?
I think it's good to stay kind of specific to players, I guess.
Yeah, like
Kessler
players.
doesn't pull his pad. That's it for me.
Okay, what if Kessler doesn't pull Talbot's pad?
That's it for me.
It is a good one.
That's a good
Or
one.
that gets called, right?
Or it gets called, right, yeah.
What if Jordan Eberle could score in 2017? He didn't score a goal in the playoffs.
Like, what if he had one?
What if he had one goal?
What if Eberle...
what if he, like that year, he had 20 goals?
That's a good one.
Well, so here, that's a great one because of the trickle-down effect. Yeah. What if, and maybe this is a better one, what if Eberle had a good playoffs?
Yeah.
Do the Oilers beat the Ducks? They don't trade him. So with no Eberle for Strome, there's no Strome for Spooner. Does Chiarelli get fired when he does? If Chiarelli makes it through that year into the next year, the Oilers don't hire Ken Holland.
We don't get Ekholm.
We maybe never get Ekholm.
But maybe, yeah, so it is quite a big ripple.
They call that the butterfly.
Because Larson would potentially never leave. I see Mainlander Ryan S. said it.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one. What if Eberle did score a goal? Like just kind of play it to his standard. And he really was bad, like in that whole thing. Like, and obviously it ended his time in Edmonton. And something that's like not spoken about a lot because obviously the other things that happened in 2017 kind of overshadowed it. So that's one. That's a
great pick. What if Jack Campbell doesn't stink?
What if Jack Campbell?
Like, what if? How much?
There's no world where he doesn't.
I know, but like, what if he was just like a 9-10 goalie? We don't have Stuart Skinner never gets the chance to be Stuart Skinner, does he? Or does he eventually overtake him anyways?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm trying to think of ones like stay away from contracts because there's other ones.
Yeah,
too,
that's tough.
Like, what if they don't sign Milan Lucic? But also at the time, it's like you sign Milan Lucic and he's the number one player on the market.
Yeah,
it wasn't that bad. Right?
Yeah, what are the ones that aren't super in hindsight? Because what if they never signed Jack Campbell? Yeah, I mean that life would be good.
What if Darnell Nurse was able to keep his offensive standards? I know 16 goals is a lot and he still gets 10, but during that time we weren't really worried about his defensive play either.
What if Duncan Keith didn't retire?
What if Duncan Keith?
I mean, hey, here's an even better one actually to the Jack Campbell one. What if Mike Smith stayed for another year?
What if they didn't sign Mikko Koskinen?
One that could be interesting to visit in a couple of years. What if we traded Philip Broberg at this past deadline? Keep your eye on that for a couple of years from now.
If we would have done first Broberg and Holloway for Buchnevich, what if they would have done that deal? Ooh, yeah.
But then you don't get Skinner.
What if they would have done the dry? I think this is
Subban.
Draisaitl for Subban. Draisaitl and Klefbom for Subban.
So I don't know if you ever do this, but on the back end of the website, you can at the bottom it shows most recent comments, and there was one from Jonathan Willis, and it was from 7 years ago, maybe longer, being the Oilers should consider trading Leon Draisaitl, and a bunch of people commented well, thank goodness we didn't do this.
Yeah, no, you didn't want to do that. He is a prime example of why you always stay patient with prospects, and I know it's taken a bit longer than with Draisaitl, but Broberg, Broberg can still be a top 4 defenseman for you, and that is a massive advantage.
That is a massive advantage. Yeah, trying to think of any other significant ones. What if they actually got value for a lot of the guys they traded?
Yeah, that's the main one with the Eberle thing, right?
Well, not even Eberle. Eberle, sure. But at least you got Strome's a good NHL player. He's not
wasn't
Eberle.
Here, but
yes. Well, it wasn't that bad. It's what they traded for was even worse. But guys and this has gone past the McDavid era, but Jeff Petrie. He was the third best player available that year, and the best they got was a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Pat Maroon. They got a guy that never played for them, and like a 4th or something stupid like that. And it's like, I know he's Pat Maroon, but he's still, it was really good. What did they get here? They got the rights to JD Dudek and a 3rd round pick, which worked out to be Alexander Campbell, which I believe wasn't even an Oilers draft pick. I think they traded that.
Someone had a good one here because Sergeant Battle said, what if they drafted Tkachuk over Puljujarvi? Does Tkachuk still go to the USA? Does he want to play with Connor and Leon? I think he stays with Connor and Leon. There's no way he leaves. Like,
okay,
he left because Johnny left.
Yeah, that is true. But the one thing with Calgary as well, him leaving, Johnny obviously having a big ripple effect on it. Gaudreau and Lindholm, all 3 of those guys had 100 points that year.
Yeah.
And he still left.
That's fair.
He still didn't want to stay. So I don't know. Maybe it would have just gone. What if they drafted Shane Doan? That one's taking it back.
That's too far. We said McDavid there.
I think the Tkachuk one is probably the biggest draft one.
Well, and so Mainliner Tim took it a step further. Like, here's the great one is what if Columbus would have just taken Puljujarvi?
Yeah, that is true as well.
The Oilers were going to take Sergachev at 4.
God, I didn't know that.
That is like fact. They were taking Sergachev at 4, or they were trading down.
What if they didn't trade Reinhart? Or what if Reinhart just turned out to be a half decent player?
Yeah.
You know, even if
That's a good one.
The trade is what it is, and I guess, you know, that is a big what if for everyone. But like, what if Reinhart just turned out to be like a guy you can just plug in as your 3rd pairing defenseman every night? What if he was just Brett Kulak? I know you traded a steep price to pay, but like, what if you turned out that he could actually play? He'd still only be like 32, I think.
Yeah, he would like still be an Oiler. Yeah. All right. You know what we should do? Because we're going to cut this conversation short.
He's 30.
We should make that our delicious debate for Owen Radio. Because I'd like to get Rick and Dan in on this. I think they'd be really good at it.
Just a Griffin Reinhart update. He's retired.
Oh, yeah.
30 years old.
He retired last year.
2022. Played for Belfast. That's kind of crazy. You'd think he'd kind of hang out in Europe for a while.
So, like, and again, this almost ties into the Klefbom thing. There are certain players who love hockey and will do anything to keep playing hockey and want nothing more than to be NHLers. There are some guys who get to the NHL because they're good at it.
Yeah. Mike D put there, what if we didn't take Bourgault? I thought about that one, but I stuck away from it because I think that draft is just such
a shit show, yeah.
That was the COVID draft. Like, the OHL didn't even play that year. Quebec played so many games. WHL played so many games. It's like so hard to really judge them too heavily on that. I think in a real year, Wyatt Johnson's probably a top 10 pick.
Sergeant Battle says, what if COVID didn't happen?
Hey, great question. I don't know where I wouldn't have a job, probably. I don't think I would be here if it wasn't for COVID.
Shout out Cove.
Yep.
All right. What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.